Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you may be listening and whatever time it may be. My name is Ryan Dooley, and I am your host for Let's Talk Football. All right, let's jump right into this. Today is going to be a very NFL focused episode. We are going to start off with I gave you my picks last episode on who I thought was going to win each game. I can tell you right now, I didn't do nearly as well as I thought I would do. But as we go over those, I'll kind of go over each game. So I do want to jump into Week 15 first, the results of each game, and I'll talk some storylines from each game. So here are the Week 15 results. The check marks that you can see underneath are the picks that I made for each game. The X's are the games I got wrong. The check marks are the ones that I got right. And, of course, there is a Monday night game tonight, which we'll dive into a little bit more because now it seems that game will have lots of impact on the upcoming playoff picture. So we'll start at the top there. I said this in my last episode. It was filmed after Thursday, so I already knew the result of that game and still got it wrong. I had the Bucks, and Kyle Pitts ended up ruining that for me. We'll move down. I already kind of touched on that Thursday night game. This was the game that I really didn't know. I thought it was. I kind of knew what was going to happen in this game. Turns out I didn't at all. The Bengals offense completely shut down by the Ravens. 24-0. The Ravens just come into Cincinnati and just dominate the entire game. If you look at the stat line, it doesn't look like it. Bengals dominated time of possession, yards, first down, or yards were the exact same. First downs more. I mean, it seems like it would have been a close game, but it was not at all. Joe Burrow played probably his worst game I can remember in a while. 2 interceptions, including a pick six to seal it in the fourth quarter. They just looked overmatched. The worst game I've seen them play in a while. I am a Bengals fan, so I watched every snap of this game and just no. It really showed this team is a mess right now. They have no direction. There's questions about Zach Taylor in the front office of who is going to come back, who won't. Joe Burrow maybe demanding a trade. There's been rumors of that. I think he doesn't. I think he stays. I think he's here where he wants to be. Maybe a segment down the road, if the Bengals do decide to fire Zach Taylor, I will talk about potential fits, as I do know the Bengals probably better than any other team in the league. We'll move down. The Jags oh my goodness, Trevor Lawrence. 6 touchdowns total, over 300 yards passing, 5 through the air, 1 on the ground. He was the team's leading rusher as well. His best game as a pro, I think pretty comfortably. I can't remember another game where he was like this, especially 6 touchdowns. This was the Trevor Lawrence that we expected to see coming into the NFL when he came out of Clemson as the generational, obvious number 1 pick. This is who we expected week in and week out, and he showed it against the Jets. Although the Jets didn't look as bad as I thought, I forgot to mention in last episode that Brady Cook was going to be the starter in this game. Figured they just wouldn't score. They put up 20 points. He didn't have his best game, but I believe his first career start as a pro. Brady Cook, the quarterback out of Missouri a few years ago. Really liked him in college. Just knew it probably wouldn't translate all that well. And, hey, gets a start. Goes out, puts up 20 points, turns the ball over a couple times, though. And the Jags win that one pretty easily. This was my pick of the week for an upset. And I was watching the score all day long and saw the halftime and was like, oh, man, I completely swung and missed on this. And the Bills stormed back in the second half to come back and beat the Patriots. And now that division looks very interesting. Patriots could have pretty much put the division away yesterday had they held on and won, but Bills a big second half come back and win that game. I'll dive into that a little more when I talk about the standings coming up. This, like I said on the last episode, was one of my easier picks with the Eagles and the Raiders. Eagles completely dominated. The Raiders shut out. One of 2 teams shut out yesterday, the Bengals being the second one. The Eagles were the better team. It just plain and simple. The Raiders are a mess right now. There's going to be, I believe, coaching changes happening. Obviously, they fired Chip Kelly a few weeks ago. Wouldn't be surprised if Pete Carroll also is waived after this season. A lot there. There are some pieces. Max Crosby, obviously. You've got Brock Bowers. You've got Ashton Genty, Colton Miller. There are pieces to build around there. So there is something there, but lots of changes need to happen in that organization. Game of the week. I nailed this one on the head. Said it was going to be the game of the week. Said it was going to be very high scoring, and I took the Rams to win, which they did. This was a great game. I didn't get to watch most of it because I was watching the Bengals game, but this game was absolutely incredible. All right, this actually, I believe this might have been a later game. Anyway, I did not get to watch this game, but this game lived up to everything I thought it would. That Lions defense though is just that's going to be a question mark going into the playoffs. We'll look at the playoff picture in a little bit, but that defense is not playing to the standard that we've seen the last couple of years. I understand they're banged up. Losing Brian Branch is a big deal for them. But yeah, that could be a question mark going into the playoffs. And the offense looked good, but like I said, the Rams just the high powered Rams. Puka Nacua had a great game. Stafford looked good. Able to take care of business, and they look like a force to be reckoned with in the NFC right now. Probably the favorites to make the Super Bowl. I don't even think that's probably. I think they are the favorites. Game below this game did not go how I thought it would. Obviously, I still picked it right. I thought this was going to be a blowout. Phillip Rivers, 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, looked much better than I thought he would. Obviously, throwing an interception on the last play kind of hurts that stat line and makes it look a little worse than it was. But he played fine. He looks like he's what Phillip Rivers was in 2020. And if you would have asked any Colts fan earlier in the week, if you could just get Phillip Rivers from when he last played, would you take it? They'd say absolutely yes. He's not going to be the reason you win a game. He's not, but he's going to go out there and manage the game and do whatever he can. And I think he did a pretty good job with this. He put them in a position to win. The defense played very well. They just couldn't get the points when they needed them and end up giving up the lead that they held pretty much the whole game. And the Seahawks able to win that one. But yeah, the Colts looked a lot better than I thought, although it seems like their playoff hopes are slipping very quickly. Back up to the top there before I talk about Sunday Night Football. Browns and Bears, another one that I thought was a pretty easy pick. Bears completely took care of business. That defense is incredible. 3 more interceptions on Shedeur Sanders yesterday to bring their total up to 30. That defense is legit. That's a force to be reckoned with going into the playoffs. Ben Johnson has that offense playing incredible now with Caleb Williams finally seeming like he has settled into that system. The Bears look very good, and the Packers are slipping away in that division. That division is going to be a great race down the stretch. But yeah, so that game was pretty easy for me to pick. Again, with the next one, I thought this one was pretty easy. That defense for the Texans is so damn good. They look like they will probably end up winning the AFC South now, although the Colts looked like they were going to win for the entire season. They've just been sliding and sliding. This defense is legit. If the offense can play well, this is a dangerous team come playoffs time. This is a game that I'm not sure how much I'm going to talk about this right now because I am going to talk about the Chiefs a lot later on in the episode. But this is a game that knocks the Chiefs out of the playoffs. Big things happen with Mahomes getting hurt and everything. The Chargers able to win this game. Big win for the Chargers. But like I said, the Chiefs are done. I won't talk about this too much right now because I do have a segment later talking about the Chiefs in specific. But yeah, Justin Herbert able to go into Arrowhead and get it done. This was a game that was kind of a toss-up for me. And the Commanders able to just kind of look more like what we thought they'd be this year. Giants did not play all that well in this game. The Commanders were able to do enough to get it done. I didn't watch this game. But yeah, good win for the Commanders. Kind of hurting their draft pick there. But yeah, Giants able to, I guess, lose, which is what Giants fans, I believe, are hoping for right now so they can maintain that number 1 pick. Game below that, like I said, I was picking the Packers to go into Denver and upset them, and they didn't. Denver looked good. Denver looked about as good as I thought they could. Didn't get to watch a whole lot of this game, but from the highlights I looked at and the stats and stuff, yeah, they've played good. I still don't know how much of a believer I am in this Denver team. They've won so many games this year that it feels like they shouldn't win. This one seemed like a good one from start to finish. They seem to play their brand of football, which was good. That's always a tough place to play too, as it gets colder and colder, going to Mile High. Denver looked good. I'm interested to see what kind of noise they make going into the playoffs. This could be a team that I could see continuing that luck and making it around the Super Bowl, or I could see them losing first round depending on a matchup. Game below that, really was surprised by this. Tyler Shuck, man, he looks way better than I thought he would. Low-scoring game. I believe 20-17 was the final of this game. Panthers really needed this one. This was one that it felt like they could win this and beat the Bucs and win that division, and they've slipped it. This was a game they should win. They are a better team than the Saints, but Tyler Shuck, man, he's fitting into that system that Kellen Moore has down in New Orleans, and it's working a lot better than I thought it would. I was not a big believer in him coming out of the draft. I thought he would be plug and play, which it seems like he is. Not sure where his ceiling is, but no, he's playing good football. And the one below this, the Niners, just a better team than than the Titans. That's what we saw. The Niners were able to take care of business pretty easily in that game. The Niners. I mean, they're back to the way the Niners have been. Maybe not as strong as they've been in past years. But again, another team that's just so talented that they make it work. So they will. It looks like they will be in the playoffs. We will talk again playoff picture in a little bit here. Sunday night football game. Didn't get to watch any of this at all. I had a very early night last night and slept through this entire game, but was surprised to wake up this morning and see that the Cowboys lost. So that effectively ends their season. They needed this win to stay in the hunt. And the Vikings with J.J. McCarthy, he's looking better and better every week and goes into Dallas and gets a statement win. Very interesting that Justin Jefferson has still been absent the last 2 weeks. He's played both weeks and just has done nothing, and yet it's back-to-back wins for them. So they can win without him, which I don't know that they want to continue doing that. You want to use your playmakers. So they're able to go into Dallas and get that win. Monday Night Football tonight with the result of the Bengals and Ravens game yesterday. This game is huge. The Steelers, when we'll talk a little bit about standings here in a second, but this game now is so big because we'll flip over to the standings right now. The Dolphins maybe not as much, but here are the standings heading into Week 16. Sort of. There's the game tonight, but as you can see with the AFC North going on there, we'll just start there. The Ravens, with a Steelers loss tonight, will be tied with the Steelers atop that division. Now, the Steelers do have head-to-head over them with the win, but they do play again coming up. So if the Steelers lose tonight and the Ravens are able to get the win in Pittsburgh, they will be atop of the AFC North. Obviously, with the loss, the Bengals are eliminated. Like I touched on a little bit, they just seem like a mess right now. But I will kind of jump back up to the top with the AFC East there. The Patriots, with the loss yesterday to the Bills, now just hold a one-game lead over there, and they have split the series. I'm not sure about the divisional tiebreaker. I haven't looked into that yet. But with them splitting the series head-to-head will not come in to play. It'll go down to divisional. That's going to be a tight race now. That's going to be a fun one. The Dolphins, where they win tonight, could stay in the hunt. I have them losing and being knocked out of the playoffs. They could jump back into the wild card hunt tonight with a win. They have looked very good. They've been red hot. I believe they're one of the hottest teams in football. I believe they've won 5 in a row. We'll move down to the AFC South. That now looks very, very interesting. Jacksonville sits at the top of the division with Houston right behind them. The Colts are sliding. It's such a hard situation and tough situation to watch in Indianapolis with Daniel Jones looking as good as he did, getting hurt and then tearing his Achilles to knock him out for the year. Phillip Rivers, like I mentioned, looked a lot better than I thought he would yesterday. But I'm not sure where the ceiling with that team is. I think they went all in on Sauce Gardner a little early with the 2 first-round picks, and they may end up regretting that. AFC West, Broncos obviously have clinched the playoffs. If they keep winning, they're 12-2. They will lock up the number 1 seed. They are the current number 1 seed in the AFC. With the Patriots loss yesterday, they take it over. Chargers with a win, they are all but have clinched a playoff spot, and that's gonna be fun down the stretch. Those 2 teams fighting for that division. Obviously, the Broncos out ahead by 2 games, so they control their own destiny. That's gonna be a fun division to watch. The biggest thing there is the Chiefs, who I will talk about more in a little bit, being eliminated with their loss yesterday to the Chargers. That is so big. They have been to 3 straight Super Bowls, winning 2 of them, and they are now out. A playoffs without the Chiefs and Bengals and possibly Ravens, depending on how this ends, who were, in my opinion, the 3 powerhouses in the AFC coming into the season. So that could be big for some of those teams. Obviously, the Bills I would put in there too. So the Bills are the 4th of those big powerhouses that I think most people would have picked to win the AFC. 2 of them are already out. One of them is fighting for a playoff spot, and the Bills look like with a win yesterday, they have all but cemented themselves into the playoffs. We'll move over to the NFC. The Eagles with a win yesterday and a Cowboys loss look like they have locked up that division They're 3 games, or excuse me, 2.5 ahead with the Dallas tie. Dallas still technically in the hunt for the playoffs, but I believe with that loss yesterday, they are now done. I do not believe they will make the playoffs. I think they needed that win yesterday to really stay in the hunt. I believe it's the Eagles' division to lose, and I think they will win it. Obviously, the Commanders and Giants both out. Giants looking for that number 1 overall pick. Bears and Packers. Bears with a win, Packers with a loss. The Bears retake their lead in the division and retake the number 2 overall seed. This is going to be a tight race down the stretch. Obviously, the Lions, they're at 8-6. That loss yesterday hurts them. I believe they are still a playoff team. I don't think. Obviously, this NFC looks pretty stacked. It's hard to get into this playoff. There's going to be a 9-8 team left out. There may be a 10-7 team left out. This is a very, very good division. But yeah, so I believe the Lions are still a playoff team. Interested to see how they finish out their season, though, and if they do make the playoffs, what kind of noise they can make. NFC South, this division's a mess. It's a 2-horse race. Falcons and Saints both eliminated. Panthers and Buccaneers. The Panthers' loss yesterday really hurts them, especially with Tampa losing. They were able to clinch the division with a win yesterday and a win over Tampa. They lose that game, so now it looks like that game against Tampa will basically be for the division. So that's going to be a very interesting game to look out for. Both these teams could still make the playoffs, but I believe the NFC South only has one that will make it, either the Panthers or the Buccaneers, whoever wins that matchup coming up. And the NFC West, the best division in football by far. Cardinals at the bottom at 3-11. It's just unfortunate because I believe the Cardinals are better than a 3-11 team. It's just playing in this division. It is impossible to get easy wins. Rams look like the best team in football right now. I believe them, the Patriots, the Broncos. Those are the teams that right now look like the best in football. Obviously, the Jags had a great win yesterday, but they've been up and down all season. At least inconsistent in some of their games, even though they sit atop their division at 10-4. The Seahawks. I mean, the win was ugly yesterday, but a win is a win. You have to find ways to win in the NFL. And the Niners at 10-4. All 3 of those teams are playoff teams. I find it hard to believe that the Niners would lose 3 in a row and get left out. The Seahawks are also in, although have not technically clinched 11-3. They are going to make the playoffs. So all 3 of those teams are playoff teams. All 3 of them are very dangerous playoff teams. The NFC West, as I mentioned, easily the best division in football. The Rams, that divisional race is going to be insane. The Rams, Seahawks, and Niners, they all have chances to win that division. It's going to come down to the wire. I believe that probably comes down to Week 18. But yeah, that's a division to look out for. That's kind of our standings update with some of the big games from yesterday. The game tonight means so much with the Steelers and Dolphins. And I'm very a game that maybe I wasn't as interested to watch, especially being a Bengals fan and kind of thinking the Bengals are done no matter what. Now that game honestly means even more with the Ravens winning and the Dolphins trying to stay alive in their playoff push. So this game tonight has a lot of impact on what the eventual playoff picture could look like. I mentioned multiple times that I think the biggest story from yesterday revolves around the Kansas City Chiefs, and I want to jump right into this because for the first time, I believe it's 8 years. I'm not entirely sure on how long it's been, but for the first time that I can remember in a while, the Chiefs have been eliminated from the playoffs. And as big of a story as that is, obviously they've been to 3 straight Super Bowls, winning 2 of them, losing last year to the Eagles. The biggest story out of yesterday and the Chiefs is not them being eliminated. It is Patrick Mahomes has torn his ACL, will miss the remainder of this season, and it changes the outlook completely on what next season is going to look like. The question immediately is, when will he be back? If that is a 1-year injury, I believe this takes them out next year too. That roster right now is not good enough to overcome not having Patrick Mahomes. He is, in my opinion, the only reason that they are as good as they are right now. Trent McDuffie has played great on defense, but Chris Jones is not the same player. They seem to lack a high-end receiving threat. Although they've drafted they drafted Xavier Worthy in the first round, he has struggled to find his footing so far. Rashid Rice, Obviously missed a lot of this season after being suspended. He's now back. He looks good. Kelsey is, you can tell, aging and declining. He's not the same player he was. There's a lot of question marks with this team. Obviously, Andy Reid is getting old. How much longer can he coach? There is so many questions that arise out of this Chiefs team, and now losing Mahomes for most likely a lot of next season is going to be detrimental to this team. I don't know where they go. They are going to pick in the top half of the draft, so interested to see what they do with that. But losing Mahomes for the rest of this year and potentially most of next year is going to be absolutely. It's going to be. I don't believe the Chiefs make the playoffs next year, and I don't think many people will pick them to make the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes is such a big part of this team. He is their entire team. I understand all the talk that goes around him makes him seem overrated, and there's so many people now that want to talk bad about him and find nitpick things to nitpick about him. But all of that, I think it takes away from just how good this guy is. He is the lifeblood of this team, and losing him for an entire season is going to hurt them, I believe, beyond what most people are even going to realize. This team may be bad next year. They may not even be like, oh, middle of the pack, whatever. Like, this team may just be a bad football team next year. And there are a lot of questions that need to be answered and that will be addressed in the next coming weeks and into the offseason about just the direction of this team moving forward. Do they want to go out and try to make a big splash and bring in a big time receiver, or make some trades, move up in the draft, go get a big guy? Or are they basically going to punt on next season and say, look, we're not going to have Mahomes most of the year. Let's get off some of these aging veterans. Let's trade Chris Jones and see what his market looks like. Let's make some moves, try to cut salary cap, and make a push for 2027 when Mahomes will be back and healthy. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and I'm very interested to see what direction this team decides to try to go in, and I'm interested to give my opinions when they do make these decisions on what they want to do. Again, I believe that was the biggest story coming out of any of the games yesterday, is not even the Chiefs losing, but Patrick Mahomes tearing his ACL. That is the most unfortunate event that could happen for the Chiefs. And as much as like I mentioned, I'm a Bengals fan, and the Bengals and the Chiefs have history over the last couple of years. Don't wish that on absolutely anyone. I love watching Patrick Mahomes. He's just an incredible talent, one of the best quarterbacks of his generation. And it is going to be weird watching the Chiefs play the rest of the year without him and most of next year without him. That's going to kind of wrap up my NFL talk for today. There's a lot as we go throughout the week. On Wednesday, I'll cover more of the um, Monday night game, and I will give some picks give some outlook into what's going on in Week 16 with some of the games. Friday will be much more of a college football show because the playoffs do start on Friday with Alabama traveling to Norman, Oklahoma to play the Sooners, and then more college football first-round games are on Saturday. And talking about college football a little bit, I will end this episode with one last segment talking more college football and talking about Fernando Mendoza as the 2025 Heisman Trophy winner and the voting, because I do have some issues with the voting and some of the things that I saw of who ranked out where. So as I mentioned, Fernando Mendoza is your 2025 Heisman Trophy winner. I believe this is the correct selection. I picked him in my last episode to win the Heisman. I believe he's played as the best quarterback in the country, and I believe that he was the most deserving. Like I said last episode, I do not believe this is a very good Heisman race. This is not a historical Heisman by any means. I think Genti wins it easily, like almost unanimously this year with his season last year. I think Dylan Gabriel probably wins it this year with the season he had last year. Cam Ward probably wins it with the season he had last year if he does it this year. But that's not to say that I do not believe Fernando Mendoza deserved it. I believe he very much did deserve this. And next to it, there you can see the top 10 voting. Mendoza, Pavia, Jeremiah Love, Julian Sayin, Jacob Rodriguez, Jeremiah Smith, Gunnar Stockton, Trinidad Chambliss, Caleb Downs, and Haynes King round out the top 10. I mentioned in my last episode, I believed it was from the finalists there, the top four. I thought it was going to go Fernando Mendoza, Julian Sayin, Diego Pavia, and Jeremiah Love. I was very, very surprised to see Julian Sayin finish fourth in the voting. I believed the Heisman came down to the Big Ten championship between Fernando Mendoza and Julian Sayin, and I believed that Fernando Mendoza was going to win because he won that game. It seems like it may not have come down to that at all because Julian Sayin finishing fourth place with only 8 first place votes, which isn't even the fourth most first place votes. Jacob Rodriguez, as I mentioned in the last episode, I would have liked to see him get into the finalists and be in the top four. And with 17 first place votes, it seems like 17 people, it's 17 first place votes, 56 second, and 132 third place votes. Seems like a lot of people agreed that he should have been a top four and then a finalist in New York. But I wouldn't have wanted him to drop out for Julian Sayin. I thought Jeremiah Love should maybe drop out. Obviously, he was incredible. I would have liked to see 5 finalists this year instead of 4 and put Jacob Rodriguez in there. But this voting was very surprising to me, especially down the board. Some of the guys who got first place votes, Gunnar Stockton is not the Heisman Trophy winner, and the fact that 3 people think he was is unbelievable to me. He is not the reason Georgia is winning games. I could understand Jeremiah Smith getting 4 votes. He's the best receiver in college football, although he was snubbed from the Blitnikoff Award for the second year in a row. I can't believe he didn't win. Now, he did miss a game, I believe, is all he missed. He is the best receiver in college football. There's no debate about that. I don't care who won the Blitnikoff. I don't care what the stats say. Look at the eye test. He is the best. He is the best player in college football. I don't think there's any debate behind that. But not a Heisman receiver season. The Heisman is a quarterback award. Whether you like it or not, there have only been 5 non-quarterbacks win the Heisman since 2000. Travis Hunter last year, Devontae Smith in 2020. You had Derrick Henry in 2015, Mark Ingram in 2009, and Reggie Bush in 2005. Those are the only non-quarterbacks to win the Heisman since 2000, and they all had historic seasons. Jeremiah Smith has not had a historic season, neither has Jeremiah Love. That's why neither of them won this. But yeah, that Trinidad Chambliss is not the Heisman. I understand him getting votes, but first place votes he shouldn't be getting. Same with Caleb Downs, one of the best defensive players in college football. But if Jacob Rodriguez is not even going to be a finalist in New York, Caleb Downs cannot be getting first place votes. And Haynes King, he had a great season. He's the reason Georgia Tech was as good as they were. He's not the Heisman winner. I don't understand the people. Look, he should get votes. All these guys are very deserving of votes, but first place votes should go who the winner should be. It should have been one of the 5 guys, I believe, above, maybe 6. Those bottom 4 guys, I believe, should get votes and should get recognition for how great of a season they had, but should not be getting first place votes towards the Heisman. Not to say that these guys are not all great players. They are all big parts of their team. And let's see, Haynes King is not in the CFB playoffs, but I believe every other player, nope, Jeremiah Love not either, or Pavia. So 7 of the 10 we will get to see in the college football playoff. Some more than others. I'm very interested to see how Jacob Rodriguez and Texas Tech handle the winner of Oregon and James Madison. I believe that'll be a great game, as I mentioned in my last episode. Yeah, that's kind of all I have today. It's a little bit of a shorter episode. But as we continue moving forward, these episodes are going to be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We might have some sprinkled in between, depending on if big stories happen. But this is going to be the format moving forward. So Wednesday will be more NFL and college, a hybrid. I will talk a lot about Week 16 and big stories that come out if there are coach firings, because I believe there could be some coach movement depending on what front offices want to make, and if there is any developments in the Michigan coaching search. And Friday will be a main college football show talking about Alabama and Oklahoma and the rest of the first round games that will be the day after on Saturday. So, with all that said, that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to hit like and subscribe below. Leave a comment about what you would want to see me talk about next. And from wherever you may be listening, whatever time it is, thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk Football. Thank you for watching this episode of Let's Talk Football. If you enjoyed what you heard today, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, comment down below with what you would like to see me talk about next. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more just like it, click on the video right now to see my last episode, and let's talk more football.